Thank you for inviting me for this talk. And I just wanted to make sure whether you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, amazing. Hi, everyone. I think the previous speakers have done an incredibly great job. I think they have provided with all the necessary information which is involved in the grid processes. So the way I want to do this for this evening is just to share my story with you more than anything, and just to prove that if we dream of something, we can actually get that and make it happen. So I graduated in India, and I came to UK in 2003. All I knew is I want to do pediatric endocrinology, but I just didn't know how. So I was doing standalone post. But one thing I decided is whatever the post I do, I need to do some project with an endocrine slant. It may be useful for me at some point in my career. I never knew what the grid processes involved at the time, but whatever the audit, whatever the project I did it with an endocrine slant, even though I never did any endocrine job until 2009, probably. And then the ST3 training program came. I got it at the first shot. Thank God for that. And then as soon as I got that ST3 in Manchester, I was on mat leave at the time, but I took an appointment with the endocrinology professor in Manchester. And I wrote to him, I took an appointment and I went with my CV. I knew nothing about Manchester. I was in Leicester at the time of my ST3 post, but I decided that's what I want to do now that I've got my training number. So I need to give it a start. So I went and met Professor Clayton, and he looked at my CV. And the first question what he asked me is, I hope you didn't mistake me that I'm a respiratory clinician, because I have worked in Aldersgate Children's Hospital for 2 years prior to that. And all my projects and everything, audits and everything was obviously in respiratory medicine. But a couple of endocrine slants, that's it. Say, for instance, I reported a case on CFB-ABPA with an endocrine slant to it. So he looked at me, and that's exactly what he told me. And I then realized he's literally telling me that I'm unphysiology. That's what the hidden meaning was. And I looked at him straight on his face, and I told him, thanks, Prof. I knew that I'm an endocrine consultant, and I'm coming to your unit next year, and I would like to work towards endocrinology to make myself able to become an endocrinology consultant in the future. And then the comment I was given was, well, why do you want to be a tertiary endocrinologist, be a secondary pediatrician with an interest in endocrinology? Of course, yes, I can be, but that's not something what I want to do, because I'm a person who I do not fancy neonatal medicine, and I love endocrinology. So I want to be an endocrinologist, and I don't want anyone to kind of decide my career or change my dream. I said, no, I think I can still work hard towards that. And I came off. But I was literally working my way through the entire grid process. Then I went and met one of the grid trainees in endocrinology, and I asked them, could you please share your application form with me? Luckily, they shared their application form with me. So basically, I was doing my own endocrine grid training even before I went for the endocrine grid interview. The second thing is network. That means that every possible aspects of your chosen specialty, please network with people, not only just in your deanery, but in outside the deanery as well. Make yourself known as a person who belongs to your specialty. By the time I went for my grid interview, people within my specialty knew that I'm already an endocrine person, and participate in every possible society, endocrine, for that, because I'm an endocrinologist, I'm talking more about endocrine societies like BSPED, SP, ICCBH. Likewise, in every specialty, whatever you're interested in, participate in your society, go and attend all the conferences and try and present something in each and every conference, no matter whether it's local, regional, national, international, but just present something and publish. No matter what, each and every case report is still gold in your CV. Publish it. Do not wait for massive, RCT trials to get published. Every possible thing. Say, for instance, when I was working in a DGH, there was a child who came in with the, tattoo mark, and then I just took a picture and I got published in BMG case reports, and that got press released in Time magazine. So, and that was one of my unique selling points in my interviews. So just keep your eyes open and grab every opportunity you come across and present, participate, and publish. And I've never done an audit or a project which I knew that I won't be able to publish or I won't be able to present in, at least in a regional meeting. That piece of work I will not do. I'm sorry to say, I'm selfish. I love NHS, but I equally love myself and my passion towards my specialty. So do every piece of work in your CV should at least hit a regional level presentation or a publication. And do research before grid if possible. Again, once I got into endocrine training as ST4 and ST5, do not shy away, like by doing a specialty or asking your TPD prior to your, even in your core training. Say, for instance, like when I completed my ST3, ST4 was in Royal Manchester. People are not given in a tertiary postings as an ST4 because the first time you're a registrar. But I never shy away from asking my TPD, can I do ST4 in Manchester Children's so that I can still continue to do my endocrine projects within the endocrine department? And I was given, and I was able to do my ST4 in a tertiary hospital. And I deferred my neonatal postings as much as possible so that I can do more endocrine training. And before, even during my ST4 and ST5, just ask. At the most, the answer we may get is no, but just ask and make it happen for yourself. And when it came for my PhD, again, I was asking for every possible opportunity to do PhD within Manchester. For some reason or the other, I was not able to get a PhD in Manchester. I was offered an MD, but I wanted a PhD. So I thought, okay, let me go and ask everyone within the country. So I wrote to every endocrine consultant, lead consultant from Glasgow, from London, from you name it, in all the centers except Ireland, possibly. I wrote to everyone. And then I was invited by one of the Gorge consultants to go and work with a project with him remotely. And I published that and my work with him even before I joined my endocrine grid training. So just ask for help from not even in your deanery, outside your deanery. And then likewise, when I went and met Professor Nick Bishop in Sheffield, he offered me with a piece of work to do my PhD. So then I moved my number I went out of program for research from Manchester to Sheffield to do my PhD there. And then the next thing is download the application form 2 years in advance and work towards it. Prep your CV and application form towards that. And do plenty of mock interviews, at least for a year. That's exactly what I did. Each and every question I'll be thinking, this is what I'm going to answer in my grid interview. No matter what, I've not applied, I've not been shortlisted, but I knew the application form by heart by then. So every opportunity I'd be thinking, this is what the question, if they ask me, this is what I'm going to say in the interview. And let your passion shimmer on the day of your interview with all your unique selling points. Each and every question, write down your unique selling point and do all the projects which is completely something outside the box. And in fact, when they ask me, what are you most proud of, in your CV or in your entire career, I picked up something which is completely outside endocrinology. I run a charity of my own, so I talked all about that, and I use all that as my transferable skills, which I can apply to my specialty. So just pick everything which make you stand out in your interview as well as in your life. and reap the reward of success and be proud in sharing your success, like how I'm actually able to do after 18 years. And I'm so pleased that actually it's a hard journey. Like, I mean, people can, try to push you down, but don't give up. Just don't give up and just keep walking through your journey, and you will reach there at the end. So I have actually put some more slides as well, but most of the things have been discussed already. And each and every slide, I'm not sure how much more time I have got. Heba, please could you remind me?
I think you will be having like 2-3 minutes more.
Okay, absolutely. So thank you. So in the last year, there were 14 applicants for pediatric endocrinology and diabetes, and 6 places were offered. And this is the, the process of your grid application and process for the year 2021. I'm very happy for these slides to be shared. And who can apply, we by now all know that. The only difference is CCT dates cannot be changed to accommodate the subspecialty training, which wasn't the case previously. So this is a new change. So please be mindful of that. And the trainees can apply any number of times. In my time, we could only apply twice. And you all have to submit a confirmation of eligibility form with your TPD well in advance. Try and remember that well before your interview process. And we all have to apply through Oriel website now. And the criteria, what we will be marked on as all these: clinical experience, quality improvement, and audit. Audit is something really, really important. Make sure that you complete an audit. And also, if it is a re-audit, make sure you do that, because there will be a question on audit. And we need to be able to give a complete answer to get the full marks for that. And management experience, make use of every opportunity you come across, and then make sure that you fulfill that in your application. And say as research, every project, anything outside audit can be classed as research. We don't have to do a PhD or an MD for the grid process per se, but have something in the research box. Again, publications, presentations, posters. We all know that like an international poster scores less than a national or a regional oral presentation. So make sure you get at least 1 or 2 oral presentations in your application. And education, teach at every possible level, so that you will get so much of marks for that. And you'll also be enhancing your own specialty knowledge by that. And statement to support of application is something which we need to get help from as many consultants or your well-wishers or your senior trainees as possible, and invest a lot of time in preparing your application form. And these are the marking criteria, which I'm very happy to share with everyone. And again, never ever give up. And I'm very happy to take any questions related to pediatric endocrine and diabetes grid training. Thank you, Heba.
Thank you very much, Suji. This was like very inspiring talk.